Yes, sir. It's Willis back again. So do not try this without special training. Do not try this on your own if you haven't gone through special training. But with that said, we're going to go through and learn just a few things. This isn't the official training video. We're going to put together an actual training video when we have some time to put something safe and proper together for you guys. So, but this is for the people that took our class today, and this is for you guys to enjoy. So a little bit of tips and it'll help you rebrush up what you went over today. So hope you guys enjoy this. But once again, it's Willis here with Stage Labor of the Ozarks. We're here at GSB or Great Southern Bank Arena. So come along with us as we learn through some things today, and hope you guys enjoy this. All right, let's go.
What we're trying to do here is build a foundation for you, show the basics, so that you know what to do when you need to do it. And as you work, you'll learn those little tips and tricks of how to tweak things, make it a little easier here and there.
Yes, sir. It's Willis. We are back again. We're here at the Great Southern Bank Arena. They've changed it from JQH to Great Southern, took over the branding. So we're here in Springfield, Missouri, and we're about to start today's rigging class. So we're going to bring you along with us and try to teach you a couple things. We'll get into rope management. We'll get into all the parts that we're rigging with, the steel, the shackles. We'll go over harnesses. We'll go over ropes. We'll go over safety tips. So just come along with us today. Once again, it's Willis at the 10 Hit Kit. It's your favorite adventure nerd. Let's get out there. Let's have some fun. Perfect.
You get burlap at all?
So, split 15. This with a 5 stinger. We got ourselves a split 15 with a 5 stinger. We have a 5 basket with a 10-foot stinger. We have a 10-foot choke, and it'll choke to that side of the beam. And we have a bridle, and it'll have a 5 basket, 5-foot leg, another 5 basket with a 3 links in between your basket and your other 5-foot leg, and then it'll have a 5-foot stinger at the bottom of that. Stick with us.
Happens overnight. Some of you may progress quickly up to rigger, some of you may never make rigger. We're going to try and determine that today. So just so you know, but I am
You're hooked to a lifeline. You're always hooked no matter what. Why we require that line. You want to talk about harness?
Somebody, you want to inspect the stitching before you go out and utilize it. Right, so we're going to do that before we go out. If you have questions about gear that you own and you're curious, bring it to us, we'll evaluate it. And before we go out onto the beam, we're going to go through being sure to check that it's actually fit.
that would not be the properly fitted harness.
Yes, so this is not acceptable, okay? Very bad. But it should have a belt that comes across your chest or full chest grab, each leg. You have to have a dorsal ring. Some harnesses will have extra rings like hip rings or a chest ring. Just depends on the style of the harness, okay? Always has to have a dorsal ring. That is where your Y lanyard attaches to. Your yo-yo, if you need it, attaches to your dorsal. It doesn't attach to hips or chest or anything like that. It goes to your back. So if you do fall, you're gonna fall and be like this. Okay? You're gonna hang like this in your harness. Otherwise, you don't want to be hanging like that. If you fall and you hit like that, it's gonna hurt your back a lot.
Pretty simple harness. We have our leg straps hooked to here, and then we got a belly strap, and then chest strap, belly strap, leg strap, 2 side D-rings for tools and straps or your ends of your Y lanyards, and then on the back you'll have a dorsal like they were showing, hooked to your Y lanyard, and that's basic.
In order, and then you put your rope in case with the bell. Then you've got your steel and then you've got your shackle. If it's in that order, you're not going to have any issue once you pull it up to the beam up there, making the basket. If it's made out of order, you can still make it up there, but then you're having to twist things and it's not easy.
Your rope can get pinched really easily whenever you're trying to get your rope out after the point's made.
Things like that that don't seem like a big deal right here on the ground make a huge difference 70 feet in the air when you're holding 70 feet of chain and trying not to drop anything.
I want a slightly larger, longer bowline because I like to put my foot in it and go below the flange of the beam.
Here I'm just showing you a couple ways to tie these bowlines. This one, your tail will fall on the inside of your bowline. And the second way, the tail will fall on the outside of your bowline. And then next I will move on to tying this through the center of this weight to simulate tying it through a shackle or any other item. There you have it. Thank you.
Standard bowline is a 3-foot bowline, and then if you get to know your upriggers, you want to build that bowline to their desired length. So,
Usually about 4 to 6 inches on your tail, so that it doesn't, if it's too short, it could slip out of the knot before it takes full load, as well as it gives you a handhold when you're breaking over the beam and letting it in. You can use that to kind of guide yourself over the beam as the point's coming in on the load out.
Thank you.
So you want this to naturally curl into this working shackle here, okay? If it's curling around this way, it's bad. You're going to twist that steel up. This is a split 15 because it's got a 10 leg and 5 leg, okay? You're going to get a rope tied into it. Gonna get sent up in the air. Okay? They're going to tuck the 10 leg in there. You're going to pull it up, have it sitting at the beam. You're going to pull this out. You'll usually have your burlap bag tucked in the thimble of the 10. Pull that out. You're going to flip it around the beam. And again, you're going to make a basket by hooking this shackle pin into that 10 stinger right there. Okay? So it'll come in like that. Now you got a nice loop around your beam.
Split 15.
Okay? These are usually used for bigger beams like the H-beam, where 5 steel by itself won't go around it, or sometimes we're dealing with conduit and messes. It's a little easier because this junction right here is closer to the beam. You'll see it when we go up there and do it. You'll see a little bit more why it can be better in some situations.
Yes, sir. Freaking out, man. Had to bring the kiddo up so she could get a good view. Good job.
How you play basketball?
Attention to what is physically near you in your hands. That's all that matters. A 5-foot bubble, don't worry about anything else.
A yo-yo, you can take your harness and clip it into this fall line. If you're doing that, even if you're not doing that, when Kayla gets ready to go out here, well, maybe not now, but if she were going past that beam, she'd have to put both of her lanyards on the line, or in the case that she's using a yo-yo, you would have your lanyard line and the yo-yo, so that you are constantly clipped in when she gets someplace and needs to go around the corner or past that beam. So having said that, now I'm going to turn her around so you can see the front. You want to make sure that there's not a whole lot of sag in here. It doesn't need to be tight. Again, you have to be able to bend over. But here is the most important part of this harness fitting. It's got to be tight around your legs. Pull that strap out. But when Clayton goes out here, he's going to need to push that along with him or go around it. If he's going farther out on that beam to get a point than where Kayla is or Jay is, he's gonna have to go out with his 2 lanyards, or his lanyard and his yo-yo, whatever he's doing, and clip around Kayla's yo-yo and then move on. You might still break something, but it won't be near as tragic. Okay, now Clayton is going to transfer around Kayla's yo-yo, just so they actually see it. Good to go.
Basket split. So a basket, high basket, a split 15, and then a choke, 1 on each rope, please. Copy.
Kayla's got rope tossed to far beam so that she can deal with the tail. And Blaze tied me up there so that way you guys can see a couple of different ways. And then what that'll do is just allow a nice big belly here. If you're tossing far, when Kayla pulls, you'll see that she's got to keep a little bit of a belly there and, you know, to step on. So you'll see how that's going, and I don't know what this guy's doing.
Behind me, I'll just deal.
Yeah, so if she wasn't on that beam, I'd go straight across normally. Since she's right beside me, as I pull, I'm gonna have some slack. You'll watch me start out when I pull. I'm gonna take my slack. When I have enough in my hand, I'm gonna throw it over that beam behind her, and make sure I don't hit her with my rope, and watch her lifeline. And then as I'm pulling, and with my left hand as I transfer, I'm gonna flip it, so it kind of puts a wave in the rope, and it'll go over that edge, and my tail will go down on that side. Once I get to a certain point that I'm comfortable with, I'm going to then
5 basket on Clayton.
start dropping my belly in this bay. So I have a tail coming over, and then it bellies up and onto my beam, okay? So my rope dropped in, I put a few feet on the ground down there below them so that they have plenty of rope to work with to tie their knot. They're gonna tie it on, they're gonna say take weight. At that point, I'm gonna take weight and pull the knot so it's right here in front of their face so they can inspect the shackles and the basket and all that before it comes up, okay? So I'm gonna pull it up a few feet, I'm gonna wait. They're gonna say take it up with their hand, and I'm gonna start pulling up. Start off a little slow, give them a chance to stop me at the last minute if they need to. Once they kind of step away from it, it's like, all right, it's my turn. Now I can pull the point up and get it up.
One of these and make it so that we're one at a
So
time.
I've got my access right here. I'm just above the ground with them. I'm gonna take my access, I'm gonna throw it over there.
Beautiful.
I got my tail down. I'm gonna keep going a little bit more as I go, but I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip it. Take a grab, and I'm gonna flip it. One more time. That's about enough right there for enough counterweight. And then when I'm pulling, my thumbs are down, okay? So I can drop the belly here. Actually, I'm gonna throw it over here on this side. But as I'm pulling, my thumbs are down. Don't pull thumb up. You pull thumb up, you're using your arms. You're gonna wear yourself out. Thumbs down, pull. You can stand up, squat your knees, and you can use your back as you're pulling, okay? And just pull. If you're pulling with a bridle buddy, watch your buddy, try to be consistent with them, and just nice and easy. It's not a sprint for you. It takes time. You don't want to wear yourself out. I'm going to check my tail every once in a while, make sure it's not running, okay? And if it runs, it's going to flip down, hit the ground, and take somebody out. Pull right there, slap on the edge of the beam, break it over, hold it. Like Andy was talking down on the ground. If 2 points of contact, hold it. I'm gonna take some slack here. I'm gonna put my foot in the bowling, like a stirrup here, okay? And I can sit there and hold that weight. I may pull some belly here just to do that. Now, pulling the 5 basket up. Pull my burlap out, lay it on the beam beside me, throw it over my leg, wherever it's at, to not drop it. And now my shackle is on this side and it's trapped. So I've got to work it just a little bit just to get freed. So I pick up the train a little bit, there. So since it's on this side, I'm gonna take this and go under my leg right here. If the shackle was on that side, which could easily happen by doing this, all right? I'm probably gonna do that for visuals of the class. Okay, so we'll get on that side now. Take it over. I'm gonna flip it under the beam. Try to catch it. There, catch it on this side. You always go over first. Now, I've got this in one hand between my fingers so I can hold it. I've got the shackle on these fingers, and I can use this. And I can hold it right here. So I hold the shackle and thimble while this hand's controlling the pin. Okay? I never take the pin, I'm gonna do it for purposes, I never take the pin all the way out. Okay? I always leave it in there, pull it back just enough. I can still grab the bell of the shackle here and hold it with the pin. I can slide my thimble in, and all I have to do is push my hand in with the pin and push it in like that, okay? Now I can start screwing it in. It's seated all the way down. The ear of the pin's all the way against the bell of the shackle. I check the back side, make sure the threads are coming all the way through on that back side there, okay? If both of those are short, you got a problem, we need to get a new shackle, okay? Make sure that's seated all the way down. That's at least flush, if not protruding out the back side, okay? Now, I'm gonna take my bags, roll them up. You want as much padding as possible. Doing this on the beam does nothing but prevent a scratch. We're trying to pad the edges so that we don't kink the steel on it. So you want as much padding as you possibly can. So I kind of just burrito roll them up. They'll flatten out a little bit. On a dead hang, I like to fold them over, just more padding. It's also a cleaner look, so you don't have a bag hanging below the beam. Right there, I'm gonna set my steel on there, like that. I'm gonna take my rope in my left hand. I'm taking the weight, taking my foot out if I can get it. I'm not as agile as I used to be.
Yeah, but you're good looking, so that's all.
So now I'm gonna let it slip through my hand a little bit and let this point kind of settle in nice and slow. I'm gonna make sure my shackle is gonna sit right down there as I let it in, and try to make sure the bag stays under it on both sides as much as I can. Because while I have rope or weight of the steel in my rope hand, it's easier to tuck your bag. You can let it all the way in, pick this up, shove your bag under, it's just a little bit more difficult. So now, I'm in all the way, I think I'm good, okay? Now I'm gonna check my point and make sure my shackles are sitting right. I got a weird feeling it's not sitting right. So I'm gonna slide that out so I can lean down a little bit. I'm gonna look into this beam, and my shackle is side loaded. Can everybody see that? If you can't, come around here real quick and check here.
Feel free to walk around to get a good view.
Yeah. So you'll see how the shackle's not sitting right. Remember how we said straight line on everything? I want it all to be in a straight line. It's not doing that in this case, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down. We're gonna take weight and just spin it just a little bit, and it'll hang out like that, okay? Still not sitting 100%, right? But it's not fouled. So I can do this, rotate it around, and now it's sitting straight on everything, okay? And that's it. Very similar, just slightly different basket.
Alright, so we have a choke here. It is different. And I'm just gonna throw my steel over, back to myself. And this one's different. I'm gonna show you the wrong way and then the right way. So, go ahead.
This is potentially the most dangerous point that you make when you're up here rigging, because you're going to have loose parts. With a split 15, with a 5 basket, like Clayton showed you, there are never any parts that are loose, right? He kept it all in his hands. You cannot do that with a choke. So.
Okay, so this is the wrong way. The reason it's the wrong way is whenever this point takes tension and the motor goes up, it opens the variable of this pin twisting when this moves. So this is the only one that you're gonna actually take out the whole thing, which is a little unnerving.
More than likely, you got it first up here, If you see a choke point, have somebody else more experienced either do it for you or come help you with it. Don't tackle it by yourself for the first couple, okay? Because of, like they were saying, you have to take things apart in the air, and we don't like to have multiple things loose in the air. Okay?
So now it's gonna rub on the bell. There's no hazard.
And the thimble obviously doesn't move, so it's not going to roll that thing out.
Okay, so I'm just gonna set it there. It'll take its own tension. Pull my foot out of the stirrup. I'm gonna say they should have forward thought. It's okay. So what I'm gonna do here is just open up my bowline and physically let it in without letting go of my tail. This is,
Rope management.
again, like somewhat of a hazard, but if you know what you're doing, it's okay.
You don't want to just drop the point in, even though it's made not going anywhere, just shock load the point. Nice, easing it in, let it take weight slowly and gradually.
All right, then I'm gonna grab my burlap, depending on the weight of it. I should have probably put my burlap in prior, right?
If that's a 2-ton, it's going to be really hard to pick that back up inside the bag. Half-ton, 1-ton, depending on your personal strength.
Yeah. If you pull it all the way under there, you've defeated the whole purpose of having a choke. And you've made it a little weaker.
So, cable management, I had Blaze tie me into that, the fall arrest line over there. And so you'll see the difference is when they were pulling, they had to toss their tail and keep working with it. When I pulled my point, I just went for it because it just keeps it nicely slagged over there. It's not gonna fall straight down as I'm pulling the point. By it being tied away from me, it's away from me. Some venues, like when we've got just a few upriggers, I'll do this all the time. If you're in a spot where there's a ton of upriggers and whatever I do with my tail might be in their way, then I end up doing this kind of thing. And so it's just rope management, just keep in mind of your surroundings. Some things you can do someplace that you can't do other places. If you start tying into something, before you do, if it's a venue you've never worked in, make sure you check with the locals. You know, make sure you find out what they do, how they do it. Some venues, when the show's over, you find a spot on the ground and you can drop your rope in. Other venues, if you drop your rope in from the sky, all hell breaks loose and they scream and yell and kick you out of the venue. And so those are all just things. Find a person that looks like they've been there before and ask them what they do, and you're showing the house, you're showing them respect, and everyone's happier. What you're gonna end up doing if they were standing in the bowline, if there's not room for the bowline, you know, like if there's not one, instead of putting your foot in, you'll just simply pinch to the side and step on the bottom of the I-beam. And that's that.
That one does take a lot of getting used to.
Right.
You'll work into that one probably.
Yeah, and so that's what, when Andy was like, I don't care the length of the bowline, that's why I don't care the length of the bowline. The only time I care the length of the bowline is instead of an I-beam, if you're in, the H-beam's a little different, but if it's an actual box beam. Because an actual box beam, there's nothing to stand on, and your legs are just out here, flopping, because there's no flange. So then at that point, you want your foot in this, otherwise you've got to end up doing this goofy wrap thing.
Yeah.
And it's just no fun.
The split 15 is used when, if you look out there on that H-beam, you can see how much taller the sides are. It's a bigger beam. A 5-foot basket won't fit around it. You could use a 10-foot basket because that steel would be long enough, but then you got to reach about 4 feet below you to pick it up and make it. With the split 15, and Jay will show you as he ties it in, it allows you to have those shackles right up next to the top of the beam like they were with Clayton in the cable. So that's why we use the split 15.
Or if you're in a spot like the center beam right here, this is completely rounded.
Yeah.
And so then with burlap, wherever you want to put it, just make sure you don't drop it. I always like tucking it in here, then I can do anything I want. Some people put it over there, tuck it under their leg. Just make sure you don't drop your burlap. Just all that crazy stuff to be mindful of. And as Clayton was talking about, try not to take your pin all the way out. If you do, because the steel is all crazy twisted, God gave you another appendage. Go out.
Do not set it on the bait.
Don't try and communicate with the bull while you're doing it.
And so,
That pin will roll off. Whether you think it will or not, it will.
Oh yeah.
yep. And then once you tighten it in there, crack it off just barely. It'll keep it from seizing up in the air, the pin will. If you're outdoors, you can go ahead and tighten it all the way. Because outdoors you've got wind load and stuff, and if you crack it off, it can actually work that pin out. But indoors, always once you tighten it, just barely crack it back just to keep it from seizing. And then we'll take this
Loincloth.
We'll get him going there, and then we'll just lower this happy guy. And you'll see with the split 15, it's just right here, as opposed to if it was a 10-footer, then you've got 10-foot split in half, so it'd end up being 5 feet down below you. So then all the split 15 is for is the ease of the out. On the end, a split 15 or a 10 basket makes no difference. It's just for the out. The only reason why in this situation we would use a 10 instead of a split 15 is if we had to get that point physically closer to the beam because of trim height. Because this guy's 15 cut in half, 7.5 down. A 10 foot is 10 cut in half, 5 foot down. So a 10 foot would get you 2.5 feet the hook higher in the air, depending on if it's small venue, trim height.
Trim height being elevation height, correct?
Yes. One is this, because of the thimble, this is actually pinching my rope and I couldn't get him out. So I just held weight and pushed it down with my foot to relieve that tension.
So we see a motor in the box, okay? We may see him floating on hook and truss, down rope, come over, lower it in the box, set it down. We're gonna wait until they're done running that motor out, because it may be in the box, but they're still running all the chain out of the motor before we even touch our point, okay?
You'll see them unplugging.
Yeah,
That's
when
your
they
signal.
unplug, that's like, hey, all right, now I can grab my point. Because the thing is, a lot of times, if I'm sitting back here, maybe my lanyard's short, whatever reason, I'm probably gonna grab that and go, all right, I'm gonna scoot up, get comfortable. That chain's moving down there. If you don't have to move that, don't move that chain, okay? Because it's windy, somebody's gonna walk by and catch somebody's side of the face, whatever. You do have to move it. You call it chain moving, so then I can grab it and I slide it. Everybody around square, try to wait for a downrigger to put a hand on it, so when you do move, it doesn't rip around, okay?
And Clayton mentioned, or I think Blaze mentioned, when it gets unplugged, that's when the uprigger can have it.
For a choke, you have to pull it up to you to tie in. Okay, and here, Steve tied me into the eyelet. You can go into the eyelet or into the working shackle. But I don't want to just drop this down again, right? So you want to make sure that you have weight. If you feel weird about the weight, go ahead and let it take again. Just going to show you in case you want to know what the option is there. I think personally, I'm just going to tie my bowl in here.
That foot on it, and hold that way a little bit, so she can comfortably tie the knot, or she can tie it how she wants to tie it. It's up to her. It's kind of what your comfort level really is.
You will definitely adapt to change as you work.
Yeah. What we're trying to do here is build a foundation for you, show the basics, so that you know what to do when you need to do it. And as you work, you'll learn those little tips and tricks of how to tweak things, make it a little easier here and there.
That's like a good opening line for the class
We're always
from here on
very
out.
picky.
Yeah.
We're always very particular about the size of the bowlines when the point's going up in the air. I don't care what the bowline is when you're sending the point in. Wherever you can tie that bowline, because the next thing you're going to do is send it in anyway. So if you comfortably pull 2 foot of tail, and then it starts to maybe feel a little jammed up under the shackle, just tie your bowline in. It'll be fine.
Sometimes there's tension here and it'll want to pop out and you can feel it. So you just want to be careful to be able to handle that tension in your hands if it does pop.
Yeah, and it's important to know that if that steel pops, that's not necessarily a big deal, as long as you've got the bell of the shackle and the pin securely in your hand.
The
steel ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, steel's attached on the other end. So if it pops, it's okay. Shackle is key, and the pin.
All right, and you're gonna tuck your tin leg in your basket. You can put the burlap in the eyelet, in the shackle, or in your bowline loop to go in.
And if you guys, if you've rigged or been around me, you always hear me screaming about a carabiner. I like to use a carabiner. The reason why is I've got little T-Rex arms, and then I can just kind of reach down, and with that carabiner I can literally hook into anything. You can see I can just barely reach it. So instead of trying to fish a rope through, I can get a carabiner, hook it through. If you're going to use a carabiner, it has to be a steel carabiner. Cannot use an aluminum, because aluminum on steel, eventually your aluminum carabiner is going to break and die.
You can throw your rope over and drape it over like we did as we're bringing it up. I like doing it this way because it keeps my rope all right here with me. I have probably about half and half here, okay? So I'm gonna secure the top half, then I'm gonna use the tie in. I can drop this down because I know it's not gonna hit the ground because I have half my rope still secured, right? So we can drop down. I usually grab that, just kind of help with the bounce, not pull it out of my hands. I'm gonna probably lower it a little bit. I'm gonna take my foot. I'm gonna stand on it like Jay was doing over there, right? So that point is my rope secure under my left foot on the bottom beam flange, okay? What that does, if you look, my tail's not to the ground, okay? So it's still hanging off, it's free and clear of the ground. I'm not having any worries of rope management on that. So now I'm gonna find the tail that I want, and I'm gonna lower it, drop the rest of it in, okay?
Now, rope coming in.
So, I got my tail, I got a little slack here to play with, and then the rest of it, I'm gonna tuck right underneath here. Throwing it over the beam may be better for you when you're starting, just to do that, but I got a nice little cushion here to tuck the rope.
Not all of us can do that little tuck thing.
Me and Jay have a special tool that we carry with us at all times. So we're gonna take the tail. Remember the order of operations: pin, rope, steel, shackle, right? So I'm gonna find the pin on the load shackle, okay? And I'm gonna tie into that. So I'm gonna lean down. I'm gonna tuck that through and reach it right there, okay? The reason I have the belly is so I can pull slack through.
No, it's to hold your rope.
So now I can sit up and comfortably grab that. Now I can tie my bowline knot, okay? Usually right about in front of your chest area is a good gauge of how long, okay? And tie your bowline. And I'm gonna reach down there and I'm gonna grab my rope and I'm gonna pick it up. And chain moving.
So, devil's advocate, why do you tie into that shackle?
Okay. Because, did everybody hear Kayla's question?
Okay.
She asked why you tie into that load shackle. Go, John.
Because you don't have to take that shackle apart.
Correct. But if you tie into the other shackle, as soon as you undo that pin, that shit's gonna go to the ground.
Properly or safely so it doesn't drop. Once again, using my tool. Now I've got the shackle, the loose shackle, and I'm just gonna kind of reverse order what we did when we made it up. So I've got the thimble and the bell in my hand. One hand's doing the pin, never pulling it out. I'm gonna go ahead and release that thimble because it's attached. It's not going anywhere, okay? Now all I have to worry about is the bell and the pin. I'm gonna screw that all the way back in. It's seated all the way, okay? It's not half in, half out, it's all the way back, okay? Pull this back up, tuck my bag back in, It's set. I can lower this down right here so it's hanging. This is also a flag for your downrigger. They're gonna look around looking for points to receive. They see a bag hanging, they know, hey, I got a point ready to come in. The downrigger, point coming in. Wait for him to allow me to give me the call to bring it. He's got his hands on it. If there's not a downrigger, you do not move it. You wait for them to let you know verbally they're ready, as well as the hand on the chain. Pull this back up real quick. Edge of the beam, let it slide. Pull it out over the edge of the beam, and now I'm clear. So now I can drop my tail. And now I'm gonna use 2 hands, one on the back side and one on top. It's kind of a secondary brake, and just kind of slowly let it in. I'm gonna watch my downrigger. Nice and slow. Don't go too slow. If they're just doing this, you're going too slow, you know. Just kind of watch their speed, work with them. You'll get the feel for it. And you'll see how fast the rope's coming in.
Nice and steady.
Smooth as key. Nice and smooth again, okay? We're gonna go down. We're gonna stop right before the hook gets to our downrigger. Give them a chance to unhook. Right there. I'm gonna just pause, let them unhook and set the hook in the box. They'll probably tell me to bring it in. There we go, got the hand signal. I'm gonna lower the knot down nice and smooth. We're not gonna just drop the steel in. Then smooth again. Then you get the knot. Rope clear. Now we're gonna pull it up and we can just do this with it. This is a good quick way just to get it up off the ground and out of everybody's way real quick. And then we can work on coiling it later after it's already up. Just flaking it back and forth across the beam. Step up. Yep, no, we got a block there, so we're in a different segment on that. As it's coming in way off the ground, we're not worried about it there.
Whoever wants to go first. Dig it.
Professor Kayla at work.
The choke you're pulling. Because if that point goes here, you've got to pull that point here because that's where the chain is.
Then your hook gets down right below the beam. We're going to pick up on the back side to hold tension.
Either side and step back. Feel how it feels nice and solid? Yep. Okay. Now at this point you can let go of the rope.
We went to Independence.
But since you're right here in the corner,
I usually just grab one of those.
How you feeling?
Yep. And since you're wanting to pull here, you can let go at that point.
Whatever. Yell. Nope. Get up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do want.
pick it like that.
Building.
Slack!
What side of the beam is it on?
Yeah. Sending up a couple bridles.
Take weight oars!
Catch up, Green! Together!
All right, guys, so that's it. There you have it. It's Willis at the 10 Hit Kid. It's your favorite adventure nerd, and we just finished out the classes today. We'll put this video together, and we'll get it to you tonight. These guys are going to work on the last couple points. There's a couple bridles that are going up. That's when there's two persons pulling 1 point.
So with that said, it's Willis at the 10 Hit Kid as usual. Let's get out there. Let's have some fun. We'll see you on the next week's edit. Later, guys.
Yeah, Gary.